rum too. For example, we have the AOC from Martinique. So one of the things that happens in rum, I think, is that people don't necessarily give and understand in the way they do for whiskey the difference between the traditional rum producers of, say, like Barbados and Guyana and Jamaica and Martinique and the rest of the world in the way they do for whiskey. So in whiskey you understand there's a Scotch whiskey and there's a Japanese whiskey and there's American whiskey, and immediately if someone turns up with an Indian whiskey or a Philippine whiskey, you will be immediately skeptical and say, well, hang on a minute, I don't think that's quite made the same way as the Scotch whiskey. And you'd be right. And the same thing happens in rum. I mean, if a Philippine rum turns up or an Indian rum turns up, they are actually not made the same way as in Jamaica or Martinique or Barbados, where we do have standards of production. But unfortunately, you don't quite give the rum the same level of respect. And so that's one of the things that we have to work on, and it's probably related to the fact that, you know, rum does come from a relatively poor part of the world, so therefore in comparison to Scotch whisky, which, you know, has billion-dollar brands to invest and communicate these things to you, rum is relatively poor, so we've not been able to communicate to you properly that there's a world of difference between, say, a rum made in Jamaica or a rum made in Martinique versus a rum made somewhere else in the world. And that's, so it's partly our fault. It's partly our fault we haven't communicated, but it is actually true. In other words, there are standards of production. They are, and you know, a rum made in Martinique or a rum made in Jamaica or a rum made in Barbados does mirror artisanal methods of Scotch whisky or cognac. In fact, if you look at the best of rum, we have a fabulous aromatic raw material, which is a match for any, the sugar cane. We have the most innovative distillation methods. We have the pot stills, but our pot stills are actually superior to the pot stills in cognac or France, and or Scotch whisky. Yeah, it's a more modern, innovative pot still. And we have, of course, absolutely no contest, the best climate to mature a spirit. So, you know, we do have it. It's just poorly communicated.
And I think that's what basically